Secretary Kennedy said this week that we are going to know what causes autism by September. Is that crazy talk?
No, people want to know. A lot of parents have been dealing with kids with autism. I mean, 1 in 32 kids in America today have autism. We can't just keep medicating every kid with
It was
attention.
1 in 10,000 in the 90s.
It was unheard of. And the sort of repetitive motions, the tics, the heavy, the complete nonverbal child. Where did you see that in the 1940s and 50s? And so we have to look at everything. And when you do science, you can't say, hey, we're going to do a study of what is causing this epidemic affecting 1 in 32 kids. But you can't look at these potential causes. That's not how science is done.
That's what we've been saying. And for the record, you're not saying it, but people are talking in part about vaccines because Kennedy has said it should be on the list of things we look at. Now, his critics will say he's blaming it all on the vaccine. He's blaming autism on the vaccine. I've talked to him personally. That's not what he says.
That's not what he's saying
He says
at all.
they're growing up in a toxic stew. That's one of the many things, and in particular, like the aluminum that they put in it as a preservative. Like we should be looking at everything they're consuming and we're forcing on them. Keep going.
I don't know what causes autism, but I'm deeply concerned about the rise. If I had to make a hypothesis as a scientist, not as a regulator, but as a scientist, and Dr. Bhattacharya is going to be launching a very impressive study using electronic health big data that we're helping curate. I think it is the cumulative burden of all of these exposures, environmental and dietary, that alter the microbiome. Remember, 90% of the serotonin made, which is involved in mood and mental health, is from bacteria in the microbiome. That's where it's produced. And when you mess up the microbiome, when you carpet bomb the microbiome with all of these ingredients that don't appear in nature, these are novel chemicals, what are we doing? So we've known for a long time as a scientific community that kids with autism have different stool composition, different biodiversity. So when you look at the billion different bacteria that live in the microbiome, there may be an association between changes in the microbiome and autism and things that are changing the microbiome that we've not yet fully appreciated. And that could be a whole list of things.
I've heard you talk many times with me and others about, and this stuck out to me because I had C-sections, but about how vaginal births are in some ways much better for the baby because it will help their microbiome. Like going through the birth canal is very helpful to a baby's microbiome. But I was thinking about this because what we have now is a scenario in which C-sections are routinely pushed on mothers because it's easier for the OBGYN. They can schedule their life more easily. The nursing staff supports it. They can get a wink or two, whereas the vaginal birth is a different story, natural, whatever. So the kid comes out without that advantage. Then we're very quick to prescribe antibiotics for young kids.
Carpet bombing the microbiome.
Over and over, even when they're little. And we're not setting their microbiome up. Then we fill them full of processed foods.
Right.
Or maybe we give them infant formula that's riddled with processed or seed oils or added sugars that don't need to be there. And then we, for a long time, didn't expose them to peanuts or other potential allergens, which made them weaker and more susceptible to these allergies. And then, there's all these antibiotics in foods and estrogen-altering chemicals in foods. And now the child is basically hobbled in a lot of ways through absolutely no fault of their own. And really the parents either. The parents wouldn't have necessarily known not to do the, your kid has strep, your doctor says give him antibiotics, you do it. And then on top of that, we've got all these vaccines and we've got all these processed foods and we've got all this weird stuff and, your cow milk. And it's so much. And so it's almost like the system is set up to get your kids sick. And then we say, why is everybody getting colon cancer before they turn 25, right? So no one's even taking a hard look at that. Now it seems like for the first time, we have a team that's saying, no, we're taking a hard look at all of that.
All of it. We have to look at all of it. I mean, if you look at how much children are suffering, they're in pain, they're depressed, they're dealing with injecting themselves with insulin, something you would rarely see a kid have type 2 diabetes in their teenage years a generation ago. Now you got 20% of kids who have diabetes or pre-diabetes. The vast majority are type 2 diabetes, right? We have only been talking about treating the rise in colon cancer in young people with new chemotherapy. New chemotherapy is not going to address the root causes. We need to do it. and we want to see new drugs coming to market quickly. But we've got to talk about what is insulting the microbiome, driving general body inflammation. We've got to talk about the two underlying causes of so many chronic diseases, in my opinion, insulin resistance and general body inflammation. And it's all the stuff that we put down. The body's immune system is reacting and causing some inflammation. So we're not just going to be looking at new chemo for colon cancer. We're going to be focused on healthy food at the FDA. Mm-hmm. And we're looking at a school lunch grant program for schools that want to convert to healthier foods but don't know how, and they need help. We want to help them.
Is guidance coming out for parents on how to feed their child in a healthy way? Whether, saying this to you before we got started, the American breakfast right now is, especially for kids, cereal, bagels, English muffins, toast, French toast. It's all carbs, Danish, right? It's all starchy carbs. Then God knows what they get at school for lunch. And even when you make them lunch, it's hard. You don't know what it's like. Chicken fingers, good or bad? Fried, better than, lunch meat? Probably. Well, what? Like, people don't know.
They don't know.
They've had no real guidance. You've heard about tariffs recently, plus inflation, supply chain disruptions. It's a lot. But there is a silver lining that most people missed. President Trump specifically exempted gold and silver bullion from the tariff talk. The administration preserved the ability to diversify into precious metals. If you are concerned about your savings, consider a free consultation with a Birch Gold precious metals specialist. The first step is to text MK to 989898 and receive your free no-obligation info kit on gold. Learn how to hold gold and silver in a tax-sheltered account. Birch Gold will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a gold IRA for no money out of pocket. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and thousands of thankful customers, consider texting MK to 989898. Again, text MK to 989898 to claim your free info kit right now. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.